This is the 5-year update of building my covered patio. All right, let's start with the before. So before we built the patio, this is what we were working with. It had a frame, no real roof, just screening to cover it. So we completely tore it down and rebuilt what we have today. I have a full video of that complete build that I'll leave a link for in the description below. And this was the after. 5 years ago, we built this patio with a 30-foot span. Absolutely love how it turned out. Now let's go over the top 5 upgrades I've done in the last 5 years to that patio. Upgrade number 1 was painting our house. Before it was like this yellowy, creamy type color, and I went back and forth on different paint colors if I wanted to go dark or light, and I ended up going with white. Living here in AZ, I thought that was going to be the best choice. I don't know if I still love it, and might change it down the road to a darker color, but for now, I like it. Upgrade number 2 came out of necessity more than want. The finish that I had used on it was an outdoor polyurethane type finish. I had refinished the post and the front big beam once, like 2 years in, and then had to do it again. And that time I decided I don't want to do this every 2 years, so let's go ahead and paint it black. So you'll see here what we were starting with, the chipping stuff, so I had to completely sand it down, which I took the beams off, sanded those, primed everything, and then gave them a good coat of black paint. I think the black paint looks really sharp and classy, and since the beams underneath are in the shade, I don't have to refinish those all the time, so they were able to stay the wood tone. Update number 3 comes on the west side of the patio. We have these brick pavers down there, and they were like sinking in the middle and just really old and ugly, and the hoses were all over the place. And we needed some sun or shade from the afternoon sun. And so I decided to install some vine shade screens. I do have a full video that'll be coming out soon of how I installed these, but they were basically pool fencing. We got them in there, got some irrigation, and planted some jasmine vines. And I cannot wait till these fill out a little bit more to block the shade, or block the sun. Upgrade 4 came out of necessity of living in Arizona, and that is to get some sort of airflow underneath here. So I installed some Mule Outdoor XL fans. These fans were super easy to install. I just had to attach a bracket onto the purlins on the ceiling, and then they have 2 different lengths, shaft lengths that you can pick depending on your ceiling height. Pick that and then pretty much hang it up and plug it in. What I love about these fans is they have 3 different speed settings. You can adjust the direction of which they flow, and they move some air. If you want a fan on your patio for summer, I'll leave a link to these in the description below so you can check them out and see if they're right for you. Oh yeah, and they're pretty quiet too. All right, upgrade number 5 is another necessity to try to hide from the Arizona sun. And that was, we were getting too much sun from the east and the west side, so I decided to install some shade screens, and that was to really help my vines to grow because they were getting a little bit too much sun, and to cover the barbecue area when we were out there. These were super easy to install, just a few screws, and I think they add to the overall look of the patio. Since I put out the original build video, it got a ton of views and also a ton of questions on the build process. So I'm going to answer your top 5 frequently asked questions. First question is, how big is that beam and why is it so big? It is a 30-foot long by 18.5 inches and 5.5 inches wide. We did it so big because we wanted the 30-foot span. So when you're standing inside, you have an unobstructed view out to the backyard. Next question was, why did you cut into your roof? And that goes back to that ceiling height. From where the pavers will be to the top of the beam is 86 inches, and that allows us to see from the inside out without just running into that beam, as you can see here. Also, people asked about light. We still get enough light where my plants will grow. And then the next question was, that thing's gonna leak, or have you had any leaks? Where we cut into the roof, we'd have absolutely no leaks. In between the corrugated metal, we've had a couple of drops of rain come onto the patio. So the only thing we do different there is put some sort of sealant in between each panel of the corrugated roofing. And then the last question was, that's gotta be super hot with the metal ceiling. Well, if you're all the way up there and you touch it, it can be really hot to touch, but the heat dissipates and it's so high up, it doesn't really affect you down below. All right, and now what I'm looking forward to, or my top 5 to-dos that I still want to do on the patio, is number 1 is to get new pavers. But with new pavers, we want to do the entire area that's concrete, this dirt section, and all the way around the pool. So the square footage is a lot, and it kind of turns into more projects as we go, because then we'll want to replace the tile on the pool because it's old. So saving up my nickels and pennies and everything for that, but hopefully soon we'll get new pavers. Next on the to-do list is getting new windows, and I actually have these bought already, but they're going to be bigger than what you see here, so we have to remove a couple rows of the block and get those installed, but those will be coming soon. And then down the road, we have this weird door and slider, and I want to take both of those out and put one large slider in here. That'll require putting in a new header above it, so saving up my pennies and nickels and dimes for that as well. And number 4 on the to-do list is to get some new patio furniture out there. I've made all of these. They have seen better days. Arizona's pretty rough on the outdoor furniture. So once I get the pavers, I want to get some new furniture that fits the space much better. And those will be some fun projects that I can share here in the future. And then last on the to-do list is to build an in-ground or permanent barbecue kitchen area. We want to build this out of brick to match the house, so I've got plans on doing that, and so that'll probably all come around the time when we do the pavers and get the concrete and everything situated out there. So lots of big changes coming soon. So here's the patio as it stands today. What do you think of all the changes? Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, build loud, build wild, and have an awesome day.